This is example 3 on how we identify form and structure classes. So once again, I'm going to take my sentence and I'm going to break it down into its phrases, and then I'm going to dissect or parse those phrases into the individual form and structure classes. So number 3 reads, Tanner finally owned up to his dishonesty in the church's Bible trivia competition and was seated in the penalty box of shame. So I'm going to start off once again by finding my prep phrases because they're the easiest. So I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit. I can see of shame as a prep phrase. I'm just going to go ahead and call him a prep phrase. I can see in the penalty box as a prep phrase. So I'm going to call him a prep phrase. I can see that in is a preposition and I'm looking for its noun. Well, it takes a while to get there. It's not in the church's Bible or in the church's Bible trivia, but it's the church's Bible trivia competition. So it takes a while to finally find that noun, but that's a prep phrase as well. And then here's up to his dishonesty. Up to is not a preposition together, but to is a preposition, and so is up. So this prep phrase kind of sits here with to his honesty. I think he owned up where to is. Yes, I think that's what I want to do. Anyway, sorry for my uncertainty there. Anyway, after that, then what I want to do is I want to find where my noun phrases and verb phrases are. So here's Tanner. Here's finally and owned up. Well, owned up is going to be a verb. Finally is an adverb, and adverbs typically go with verbs. So I'm going to separate this guy right here. I'm going to call him the noun phrase and him the verb phrase. And then down here, I have this conjunction and, but here's my verb, and there's no noun there, so this must be my verb phrase down here. All right. Next thing I want to do is I want to label my prep phrases because they're pretty easy. So here's my prep. I'll call him a prep. And here's my noun. Here's my prep with in. And then here's my noun. Here's my prep with in. Here's my noun with box. Here's my prep with of. Here's my noun with shame. In between there, I should have a lot of adjectives or maybe determiners. And so his is a determiner. Anything that's possessive is a determiner. The is a determiner. Church is a noun, but churches is possessive, so that's a determiner. Bible is like an adjective, it's a Bible competition. But if I look at it as an individual word, and that's how we have to look at it, if I look at it as an individual word, Bible is a noun. Trivia is once again working as an adjective. It's a trivia competition, but if I look at it as an individual word, trivia is a noun. The is a determiner. And once again, penalty is describing box. It's a penalty box, but as an individual word, penalty is a noun. So I'm going to call him a noun. Sorry for my different colors here. After that, I should have some noun phrases and verb phrases. So my noun phrases are pretty easy. Tanner is a noun. And I don't have any other noun phrases. My verb phrases should have a verb to them. In this case, owned up sort of is like saying he admitted. He admitted to his dishonesty. And I was trying to figure out whether to went with this or not, and it doesn't. I can realize that owned up is an idiom. And so we talked about idioms, and I'm just going to write that up here for you that this is an idiom. And when in an idiom, oftentimes we have what we call a phrasal verb. And this phrasal verb is made up of a verb and a particle. Something that looks like a preposition, but he partners up with a verb. And that's what's happening here. Owned is a verb, but up is a particle. And so I'm going to call him a particle. It's one of the reasons why I wrote prep instead of P, because I want to separate particles from preps. Finally is an adverb, ends in ly, and that's a pretty good clue. So it's finally owned up. Was and seated. Well, that's one big verb, but if I look at it individually, just like I took apart owned up, was is a verb, and so is seated. And is one of our list of conjunctions, so I label him as a conjunction. I like this one because it kind of shows us that words that look like adjectives sometimes are actually nouns, and we have prepositions, which sometimes can be particles when they partner up with verbs as well. So I think that's really interesting. It also threw in a little conjunction here. You notice I've not practiced everything. I've not really thrown in any qualifiers yet, but they're out there. And so as you practice the rest of your examples, do the best you possibly can by once again separating the prep phrases first, then going back and finding your noun phrases and your verb phrases, and then breaking down the sentences after that.